Hey, you know, Auntie, I was thinking about putting out a comedy record.
Comedy? You been a singer, a shake dancer?
It's real hard to break in. I do whatever it takes to get in. I come up with a new character. Dolomite is my name, and f***ing up motherfuckers is my game.
I am so happy that I've lived long enough for Eddie Murphy to rip off our bit.
Welcome to Cordkillers, the show about watching the stuff you love, when you want, where you want, however you want. I'm Tom Merritt.
All right, look, first of all, we gave it willingly to our friends over at Ice Cream Social. Like, hey, man, guess what is a very soft target on the Billboard charts? Make a comedy album. Just go for it. It'll be great. You got an audience. You're going to hit number one. It'll go great. I didn't know Eddie Murphy was going to pick up on the exact same thing. Hey,
he's making a comedy movie, which he's done before, for Netflix.
Yeah.
This is a biopic about Dolomite. This is not.
Yeah, I'm not like. I mean, I'm
he
loving
also
the
made
Eddie
several
Murphy-ness.
comedy albums in the 80s.
No. I'm loving the Eddie Murphy of this, but I'm not loving the
Rudy Ray
refusal
Moore
to
was also a real
acknowledge that all of
person.
this is about Night Attack.
Wow.
Okay.
Which is a comedy show.
Well,
if people
Very
argue.
weird that you guys are all denying that. But
great energy.
yeah.
Is there anyone else we can get to comment on your theory?
That's exactly what I was going to ask.
Joining us today, we're very happy to have Ken Napzok, author of Why We Love Star Wars, The Great Moments That Build a Galaxy Far, Far Away. You'll find him all over the internet as well. Hi, Ken.
Hello, everybody. I don't have exactly the exact knowledge on Eddie Murphy's career at this point and what he relates to your guys' work, but I'm happy to try to solve any problems.
I mean, but like in general, I mean, I just take it as given that anything he does is inspired by one of the three of us. I mean, am I the only one who feels this way?
No, it makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah, well, now that Ken said that, I agree. Yeah. All right, let's get right into things with our primary target. All right, folks, this isn't going to be revelatory to followers of this show, but the numbers are coming in and they continue to support the idea that, oh, wait, people do cut the cord. A study from eMarketer found the number of cord-cutting households in the U.S. rose 19.2% so far this year. So it's accelerating a little bit. eMarketer estimates pay TV households will decline 4.2% by the end of the year to 86.5 million. Remember, at the height of cable and satellite, it was 100 million. It's down to 86.5 million. Still a lot of people. That trend would put it below 80 million by 2021 and 72.7 million by 2023. Households without cable expected to rise to 56.1 million by 2023. So if things stay the way they are without something accelerating it, we're still, 5-10 years away from more people having cut the cord than not. In more solid numbers, Leichtman Research analyzed earnings reports and found pay TV subscribers fell 1.53 million in Q2. That's a lot more than a year ago. A year ago in Q2, it fell 420,000 million, or 420,000, no millions. So that's quite an increase. And satellite accounted for more than half of the net losses this time around. So that's what's speeding up the trend. It's the fourth consecutive quarter of record subscriber losses. Top pay TV providers have now lost 5 million subscribers over the past 5 years. And interestingly, TV viewing itself is falling, according to eMarketer, with TV time expected to drop 3% in the U.S. this year to an average of 3 hours and 40 minutes a day.
And to be clear, going in reverse order, that 3% drop, when we define TV watching, we're not counting anybody who's watching stuff on YouTube, right? Like YouTube is a different animal.
If they're watching YouTube on their TV, we are. But yeah, we're not counting phone, tablet viewing. You're right.
So, Ken, this is one of those weird stories where it's like, on the one hand, it's everything that we predicted since day one 10 years ago. But on the other hand, it's increasingly complex for us to sort of speculate on what questions we have left, because the old question was everybody's going to leave cable, they're gonna do live streaming stuff, but now we're at a place where it's like we have everything from Netflix very weirdly specific programming that they're doing for exactly 3 seasons and then dropping. Separately, we also have a bunch of things that achieved a lot of success on broadcast media, and now they're experiencing a new life in the streaming space or whatever. I've got to admit, like when I hear this, if this was 10 years ago, the headline would have been, hooray, we're right. But we're way past that. And so now I'm increasingly like, okay, but what's interesting to speculate about? I have nothing at this point that I'm left to be excited about.
I'll tell you what's getting this number of 19.2% seems so small, but I think I'm in this weird bubble. We all are, maybe, that I'm surprised that's not at 80%. But then again, I took a long time to finally get to this point. Just 2 years ago is when I finally cut. So I think the only thing left is, when is it all gone? When is my parents' package going to be the last one in the world?
Well, yeah, and I think that's the value, Brian, of looking at these numbers, is kind of setting those expectations of like, okay, I know it's not, oh, we win, but where are we? How far down the road are we before I can just assume everybody knows what I'm talking about?
Yeah, and for the record, Ken is not the only person who's thinking about his parents' package. We're all thinking about our parents' packages. And so that's the question that I
Brian,
want.
my dad's dead, so I don't really...
Oh, geez. That's thank you for that image. So new show. We're going to start from the top. Everything's fine. It leaves me in that place where increasingly I understand that there's an awful lot of people. There is value in not having to make a decision, but it seems like Netflix and Amazon Prime and Hulu are getting better and better at removing that part where you have to make any kind of decision. And weirdly, cable used to be the place where, do you not want to have to decide? How about you have everything? Just have the buffet. And now that mere opening of the guide and having to decide, that alone is enough to turn me off. And, you know, I don't engage in any kind of video content.
When we get more people doing it is when more time and attention will be spent to solving that kind of problem. I think that's why these numbers are important to look at too, is like, all right, when can we stop having people experiment with streaming packages where, you know, Warner Media and everyone, Tubi and Fubi and Fubo and everybody under the sun is putting one out. And when we will get to the point where this is a big enough market that we settle down into like a model, and then people can start solving those problems like you're talking about.
It's interesting to me too that you're talking about the options. When I am going back to my parents and their packages, to try to convince them to switch, it's not normal yet. Not just in terms of like how they watch, but just when I'm trying to present to them, like Netflix, Hulu, upcoming Disney Plus. Like, what do you want to watch? Like, it gets so confusing for a lot of people. Like, so what are you talking about when it's just so normal and those questions are gone? That's when I think these numbers will really start.
Yeah. Well, because right now I see a lot of comparisons of Comcast with PlayStation View with Disney Plus, and to me, Comcast and PlayStation View, that's comparable, but it's for two different audiences. One who's decided to cut the cord and one who hasn't. But I don't see Disney Plus as comparable to that at all, because I could still have Comcast cable and decide I want to pay for Disney Plus and vice versa.
Ken, side question for you. Like, I'm really fascinated in how language is changing. Around 10 years ago, I was surprised to hear my own voice say the words, "What do you consume?" And it sounded so artificial and strange. And I don't think that's very strange nowadays. Do you think that that there's an evolving understanding of what our roles are as curators of the content that goes into our head?
Yeah, I think so. Where I don't know. It's also this. What I found with streaming too is it breaks it down to small little pockets. I use Netflix to watch British gardening shows group. So like, I don't know if you find all that there. But again, going to the old guard, it's they just want to flip aimlessly through 3 channels. I don't know. Yeah.
But there's even solutions for that with Pluto and services like that, right? It's just a matter of getting enough people over there to have those get enough critical mass that they become the thing that everyone hears about from their friends if they don't have it already. And that's the 80 million that haven't got the cord yet.
About the 80 million that haven't, like, what do they think when they hear, oh, have you watched Stranger Things, for example? Like, are they like,
oh yeah, but that's the key, right? Like, they have Netflix and they probably are watching Stranger Things. They just keep paying for cable too.
Right. Yeah.
I strongly suspect that for the people who still have cable, in their minds, everything is reduced to, that's the thing that shuts up the grandchildren. They show up and they ask, do you have the whatever it is? and we say we have everything because we pressed the cable bill button, and we don't have to worry about that. So whatever it is you're asking, I don't speak your language, just find it. It's fine.
And we will definitely get emails from people saying the reason I haven't cut cable is because it will raise the price if I cancel it. Right? There's that bundle that ties people up where they're like, oh, but my internet's going to be more expensive. And you have to do a little more work to decide, okay, my internet might be a little more expensive, but my TV could be less expensive depending on how I manage it. Because the whole benefit of cord cutting, as we keep saying, is control over what you spend.
Is it like you just don't want to have too many portals to sign into to pay bills?
Right.
I mean, even that sentence, I'm like, shorten it to, I want less to do. Like whatever the lowest amount of to-dos are, that's what I want.
You got plenty to think about without adding more.
Yeah.
Well, let's simplify things for the folks who want to make sure the show keeps going. Patreon.com/Cordkillers. Give $1 or more. Done. It's easy.
Yeah. Well, that was short. If you're a fan of the show, if you enjoyed us going to independent, if you like seeing us continue to bring you the latest in cord cutting news, then you can participate and actually be a founding member, a stakeholder, as it were. Head on over to patreon.com/Cordkillers. You just a buck an episode. You'll never notice. If we ran into each other right now, you would first words out of your mouth, I know you would say, hey, can I buy you a coffee? And we're like, well, I don't know, coffees are $4. And then you would say, that's exactly how many $1 per episode for an entire month of Cordkillers would be. And then I would say, haha, gotcha. Head on over to patreon.com/Cordkillers, become a supporter, $1 an episode. That's all we ask.
See, we've made the decision easy. All right, let's talk about how to watch. So, as we just discussed, one disadvantage of cutting the cord is having to handle bills for multiple services. One solution to this has been aggregators. Amazon's Prime Video, where you can bolt on Stars and HBO. Roku has this now. Hulu does this for certain channels. Apple TV Channels is a recent entrant into this market. And it looks like Facebook wants to get in on this action too. Facebook is launching a small-scale test in the United States to sell subscriptions to a limited number of channels. This is just a test of the system. So if you want BritBox, College Humor's Dropout, Motor Trend App, or Tastemade Plus, you can get 1, 2, 3, or all 4 of them. Prices range from $3 to $7 a month. The prices are exactly the same as if you got these services direct from the providers. And then subscribers would be able to join discussion groups on Facebook to talk about recent episodes. You could participate in Facebook watch parties, which let multiple users watch videos concurrently and chat in real time. And apparently Facebook plans to overhaul their Facebook Watch TV app to add these services into it this autumn.
Ken, through the Amazon side, going before this, have you signed up for any extraneous, your Stars or your whatevers?
I have not committed to that yet. I'm pretty simple and straightforward when it comes to streaming. I do have Amazon Prime. Girlfriend has Roku, and I do love stealing that password. But like, I keep it pretty simple. I'm not intrigued by anything they're offering in this test here on Facebook. But all jokes about Facebook aside, and all my old high school friends who probably are still using Facebook more than me, like, there's something about this that is intriguing to me.
I do think it is interesting that this story came right after the discussion about, our parents and the way they handle their packages. If they're not on cable, they're on Facebook. So this seems like such a natural fit. To be honest, I'm surprised that it took this long for us to get to the place where it's like, hey, flip the switch. And when you get tired of it and the grandkids aren't around, unflip it.
Well, and that's what's interesting is the people who will do this sort of thing, like yourself, Brian, with Amazon, have Prime Video and have cut the cord. The people who have Facebook, like you're talking about, often are cable people. I don't see these Venn diagrams crossing, so I get the feeling that this might just end up being another one of Facebook's aborted tests where they try it, it doesn't work for them, and they get rid of it. Because there's a reason with Prime Video, because you already have Prime Video, and you're like, oh, I'm watching Fleabag and The Boys and all this great stuff, and I can add my HBO subscription to that and just have one bill. Great. None of these offerings, Apple TV, Roku, or any of them are at the point where you can just get everything you need on one. I doubt we'll ever get to a point where Netflix will allow their bill to be combined with somebody else's. But we're going to see more people trying to offer this sort of service. And it feels like the Rokus and the Apple TVs have a better advantage to this than the people who are providing a service. And Amazon straddles both worlds because they have the Fire TV and they can add it that way. Facebook doesn't have a device. It also doesn't have a streaming service. You know, like I'm just not sure why someone would sign up for Facebook to be the consolidator of their bill.
Okay, are you ready for this?
Yeah.
I think the most important part is that there's no way to watch this without stopping being on Facebook. When I think of my mom and dad, I picture them on Facebook with the laptop on their lap, looking at Hallmark Channel mysteries or whatever. They're on both at the same time. The inherent nature of this would be that they either A, they'd have to solve a tech problem of how to get the video onto the big screen, or two, they'd have to stop being on Facebook while they're watching the Hallmark Channel or what have you. So it's like, that's a significant problem. That's am I alone in this, Ken? Like, does that resonate?
Oh, no. Even if my dad is like all about Motor Trend app, which he might be, though he's more into the singing competition shows, much to my chagrin now. Yeah, absolutely. No, he doesn't. He's on Facebook to check in with me and my sister, and he's going to fight that and doesn't want to switch it and get tied into this. And then they won't know how. And it sounds like I'm just hammering on, my parents and the generation and everything, but it's just not the way they view things. And there's nothing. I get this as a test, but there's nothing to bring them into this, and there's definitely nothing to bring a lot of people into this. But it's the name brand of Facebook gets me intrigued, right? But then you're right, this would be another failed thing, and after a while that name brand isn't going to hold up anymore. And
before anybody writes us at cordkillers@gmail.com, yes, he did just bring in the idea of hammering his parents' package. Two metaphors. We're good.
Yeah, it was something you see on Facebook quite a bit. We should point out that Facebook does have a piece of hardware in the works called Facebook Portal that they want to add more video to. So that could be another thing where they're thinking like, oh, you'll watch your Motor Trend app on your Facebook Portal in the spare room or something.
I actually feel like that would be an astonishingly bad idea, because what I like about Portal is that it is a singular function. It is a window to your loved ones, a magic mirror that you snap your fingers and they're there. I don't think you enhance the appeal of it by saying, and also you can watch a Blacklist on it. Like that doesn't help.
It works for me with the Amazon Echo Show and Hulu. I'm sometimes tempted to be like, man, it'd be nice if I had Hulu Live for my live TV, because my Echo Show is in the kitchen and I could watch the baseball game or, some TV show that I don't have to pay full attention to on the Echo Show while I'm in the kitchen cooking. Right. But that's a side reason for a device that is meant for something else and a service that is meant for something else that confluences. And the thing we're not touching on with Facebook service here is why you'd want to get this in the first place. Maybe they'll come out with a full version after the test that's super compelling and has like really cheap versions of all these great services. I don't know.
To be honest, the only way I see this really working is something that Facebook will have a hard time selling to HBOs out there. If Facebook wanted to be consumer centric, what they could say is, hey, right now you subscribe to all these things. You don't even know what you're subscribed to. We'll take care of that for you. Every month we'll show up and say, if you've forgotten, you subscribe to these 7 different services. Just flip those. We'll handle the annoying nonsense of canceling the stuff that you don't like and keeping the stuff that you do. However, that, of course, is not the most attractive pitch to HBO for Facebook.
Well, the leverage Facebook could have is we have so much data about your audience that we could give you if you partner with us, right?
Yeah.
Know what you want to watch.
Yeah. Oh, my God. So do you think Facebook ever gets to a place where they've earned enough trust for you to check a box that says, you've seen what I'm watching, you've seen what I've talked about, subscribe to HBO when you know I'm going to want HBO, unsubscribe when you know I'm not going to want it.
Just subscribe me to stuff.
Right. Yeah. Just handle that thing like a true assistant.
Yeah.
Do you think they have enough credibility to pull that off?
Yeah, it's absolutely going to work. A lot of people are just going to, here's my card, here's my the security numbers on the back, and let me know when the newest HBO show starts, and just sign me up and cancel.
Well,
yeah.
it's one of those things. The only way they get to pull this off is to do it so well that they don't risk the backlash of every screen capture of Facebook. I trust you. You had one job. Why did you subscribe me to Sex and the City, the streaming service?
Yeah. And where another service like Microsoft could probably put a product out that does that and weather that blowback, Facebook these days, it doesn't matter what they do. If it's even a quarter wrong, they just get slammed in the public.
That's the biggest risk right now, right? This a lot of people don't like Motor Trend or something. It doesn't. Their race show doesn't show up on time, and it's going to. Zuckerberg will be before Congress. This I do like, Tom. Something you said earlier made me think about. We're getting to this point of that's the show I watch in the bathroom on that device. I don't anywhere else. It's a realistic kind of crazy scenario. I watch Fleabag when I'm taking a bath. That's the only time.
So true. We have so many people in our audience who are saying just that. No, it's for real. Like that is the kind of thing that happens.
It makes me think that Facebook could get to the place where it begins to predict, like, hey man, I know you've never heard of Fleabag, but your buddy, he loves it. He's telling his whole family about it. Let's say I send you the synopsis of every episode so that you can have a non-awkward conversation with him this upcoming Monday when I know that you're going to work with this individual. I don't know. Like if they earn enough trust, I feel like that could happen.
Yeah. Facebook has the AI chops. Facebook has the audience and the data. Well, I think you're zeroing in on the one thing they don't have that they need to really get momentum behind
is our trust.
Yeah.
Trust.
All right, let's talk about what to watch in Under Surveillance.
Not like real estate. It's all about location. Under surveillance.
I had a lot of earnings reports this past week from folks in the cord-cutting streaming television industry. Disney was one of them. And during that call about the earnings, Bob Iger said Disney Plus will eventually include reboots of franchises from the Fox movie library. That includes Home Alone, Night at the Museum, Diary of a Wimpy Kid, and Cheaper by the Dozen. He name-checked all four of those, but it's not limited to those. He also announced the company is redoing the entire Fox movie development slate. Avatar, Planet of the Apes, they seem safe. X-Men and Deadpool, they're being given to Kevin Feige, as we all expected. But Alan Horn and Alan Bergman are redefining, quote-unquote, the Fox film efforts, and they plan to cut back the number of Fox releases and focus on what kinds of films are supposed to come from Fox. They're gonna figure out what they want the Fox brand to be, I guess.
I mean, thank goodness, because I thought we were dangerously close to having original stories be told by independent creators, literally anything that we haven't heard 1,000 times before. They've saved us. They've saved us. Ken, what say you?
Look, we at Force Center, my Star Wars show with the Joseph Scrimshaw, we love what we call IgerCon, which is our favorite convention to attend, where he just slips out information that Lucasfilm doesn't want released, or just kind of runs. I love hearing Bob Iger say "Diary of a Wimpy Kid." It's but one where I kind of, number one, understand the idea of where's our independent and creative stories out there. They can be found. You can watch them in your bath on certain devices. But I do trust Disney to a degree. They have my trust more than Facebook on turning around some of these things. There was a reason Fox probably was in a position to be sold, and way above my pay grade on understanding the big parts of the business deal. But I am intrigued by this, what's going on here, of them kind of saying, yeah, it's not working. I don't want any of these projects, but I'm curious to see what they do with a cheaper by the dozen connected universe.
I mean, yeah. Sending all those to Disney Plus, I get what you're saying, Brian, is a little bit disappointing. On the other hand, they're probably cheap home runs, right, for that streaming service.
Sure.
And if you look at the other part of the announcement where they're like, yeah, this Fox slate was mostly crap. We're going to focus on doing better things. Maybe, I'm not saying it will, but maybe that means original stories from independent creators, and you get better stuff out of them.
And keep in mind, I'm doing the cynical snide thing, the Generation X thing of throwing up my hands in frustration. But the truth is, I'm a little bit conflicted because, Ken, I think you're right. Disney has been an exceptional steward of every property they've bought. Marvel has flourished under the Disney empire. I think certainly they're working on it, but Star Wars is getting better and better under the Disney empire. But there's part of me that knows that there's an alternate universe where Disney did not buy enough senators to change the laws of copyright. And there's an alternate universe where today, at over 40 years since its creation, somebody could make their own version of Star Wars at any time. And I just wonder if that's a richer universe than we live in right now.
You want a remade Star Wars outside of George and his flannel and Disney? I like what you're saying.
I mean, I want to see a high school version of it. I want to see Tron Star Wars. I want to see I want to see chess Star Wars. I don't know what that looks like. Public
domain Star Wars. I'm all for
right.
Yeah, Ben, I want to see that from movies from the 20s too. I mean, yeah, this is definitely an issue, and it's one that I feel strongly about as well. But this is the world we're in. This is the world we're being dealt with. I guess where I'd end up this conversation is, do you have an identity for 20th Century Fox movies? When you think of a Fox movie, do you say, oh, it's this kind of movie?
I mean, I think of almost a MCU movie.
Yeah. No, I think that's a great question. Going back years, other than the fanfare, I couldn't tell you. Other than Star Wars and the fanfare, I couldn't tell you what comes after that fanfare.
Yeah.
I really could.
Maybe if they solve that, then, like you say, Brian, it's they end up being good stewards again, and at least we get that out of it. Yeah. Twitch is now the exclusive home for live streaming content from USA Basketball women's and men's teams at twitch.tv/NBA. Yep, it's the NBA channel. But Twitch will stream all of the USA men's national team's exhibition games in the lead up to this year's FIBA Basketball World Cup. Twitch already streams G League games from the NBA, as well as the NBA 2K League, which is an esports league playing NBA 2K, the video game. It does make me think, Brian, that we're starting to see hints of a future development for live sports and where it might go.
Yeah, I made a comment about this a few weeks ago, but there was I forget the context, but on Periscope, you do the thing. We talked about this last week. You do the thing where you hit the hearts or the sad face or the happy face or whatever. It occurs to me that all of that is a proxy for actual social proof crowd noise. And I'm really surprised that more things aren't taking advantage of this. You do see it on Twitch because a lot of people of their own accord put the chat room in a corner, so you see some text going up or whatever. But the idea of being able to affect a thing by making a happy face, a sad face, a smiling, crying sunglass emoticon or whatever, I would love to see more of that so that we all feel like we're there together making noise and somehow affecting the game with our fan enthusiasm.
I love that idea. I'm excited about that. I'm a sports fan. I don't watch a lot of basketball, but I'm a sports fan who doesn't have time to really watch it anymore and just kind of has it in the background. If I was watching the World Series on Twitch or Periscope, like I said, and I'm hearting my team's victory, that suddenly adds a really silly layer that I'm actually entertained by.
Yeah. You don't have to watch Fleabag in the bathroom during the World Series.
But also there is value to it because it is a live connection to all of the other fans, because there's some kind of church aspect about sporting events where it's like we're here together to celebrate our team and the myths that we associate with this team. And just as we all say amen at the same time or sing the same hymn at the same time, we're going to do the same thing by clicking on emojis.
Yeah, you know what? When we talk about if it stays at this pace, cord cutting will hit this amount. And I said, unless something accelerates it, the something that could accelerate it is if we see a major sports league move to something like Twitch. And I don't think that's impossible in the next 5-10 years, where suddenly the thing that people keep saying sometimes is, well, I don't want to cut the cord because I don't know where to get my sports. And if suddenly the sports go, the people are going to go to.
When it says that Twitch is the home for or exclusive home, that means that all of the games that are on TV are also on Twitch, or like you never have to worry about where an NBA game is. You can always go to twitch.com.
Well,
/NBA.
for USA basketball, for the national team during the World Cup. Yeah. Got it. HBO, this is just HBO, not HBO Max. HBO has launched a site called humanreco.hbo.com that compiles fan pics of its shows, gives you a picture of the person who recommends it, their quote about why they recommend it, and then, even if you're not a subscriber to HBO, a chance to watch an episode of that show for free. Right now it has more than 50 episodes available to watch.
Ken, do you have opinions about this?
I finally get to tell the world about my favorite Boardwalk Empire shows and share my recommendations. This is a dream. It's also a great way for HBO to pass out the drug of their shows, and I love it.
I think there's something to what you're saying, but to me it feels so much like a robotic overlord saying humans appear to like what other humans say. So let's literally name it Humans. I'm not a fan of that reductionist marketing on it.
It's Human Reco recommends Boardwalk Empire. I think this is interesting. It'll probably get some people going there, especially because you can watch some free episodes. It's probably a flash in the pan, but yeah, it's definitely playing into the tech backlash though. Like, hey, aren't you tired of those algorithms manipulating your life? Go to Human Reco, and then you won't have to do it.
Knott's in the chat room kind of nailed it. He's making a reference to the Rick and Morty episode where he's listening to a radio station called Music for Humans, and it's just literally like beep, bop, boop, beep, bop, boop. And he's like, oh, Music for Humans. I like that. That's very much how I'm feeling right now on this. In the meantime, FX announced that the third season of American Crime Story will tell the story of Monica Lewinsky and the scandal and impeachment from of President Clinton. The series will be called Impeachment American Crime Story. Sarah Paulson will play Linda Tripp, and Beanie Feldstein from Booksmart will play Monica Lewinsky. Lewinsky herself is a producer on the series. The season premiere will be on September 27th, 2020. I think this is wonderful. This has been one of the most remarkable turnarounds in my lifetime, is to see how at the time the Lewinsky Clinton scandal was, number one, a defining moment of the creation of our 24-hour internet news cycle, Drudge Report, and so on. But on the other hand, we have swung so far from that, and it's truly horrific, the treatment that America gave Monica Lewinsky. And now to see her in a position of power, being able to tell the entire story, I think is totally wonderful.
Absolutely. She was a punchline for so many years, and now she's swinging back in a big way to be involved with it. This is going to be super intriguing. This has been a great series. The OJ one obviously got all those all the headlines for a good reason. So this is like appointment television.
And Agreed. It will be ending just around the time of the 2020 election day.
Oh boy.
What's funny is that I don't want to get too far out in the weeds, but you're right, Tom. Like that matters. Like somebody after the fact could make a legitimate case saying you shaped the election, you interfered in an election by causing a cultural moment of emotionality around this one story at the wrong time or whatever. It's
a marketing genius, right? Because everybody's going to be interested in this kind of thing more so than usual at that time period. It's easy depending on where you sit to say, oh, it'll have this effect or that effect. I don't know. I don't know what effect it'll have, but it'll probably have an effect, right? And then after the fact, somebody will point to that effect and go, wait a minute.
Well, and we did touch on this a little bit when we were talking about Chernobyl and our complicated feeling where it's we praised Chernobyl for being very, very accurate. But as somebody who's a proponent of nuclear power or whatever, it feels like, that kind of green energy is important. There's a complicated feeling I have about the fact that Chernobyl does almost too good of a job of representing what it looks like when things go wrong. And that kind of bums me out. So I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, imagine at the end of Chernobyl, there was a vote on whether to have nuclear power or not, right?
There are 3 links. 2 are actual votes for the public. The third is watch The Office. And so you have to pick which one.
All right. Season 14 of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia has tied ABC's The Adventure of Ozzie and Harriet as the longest running live action comedy series. That's live action comedy series. FX Network's chairman John Landgraf told Deadline, "We will absolutely make more seasons of Sunny if the gang chooses to make more seasons of Sunny." He says it's in their hands. They want to do more. FXX is all into it.
I've been a fan of the show for a long time. I'm still surprised it's going, and that's not a swipe. It's still going great, and it's breaking new ground and doing new things. But they've just done so many other things, maybe because the other things haven't hit, that I think we'll get a few more seasons of Sunny indeed if they want it. Yeah, that's great.
I mean, it's a very cozy waiting room for each of the breakout stars to, experience their own Hollywood dreams come true. Did you ever fall into Trailer Park Boys, the Canadian methadone version of the show?
I watched a little bit of it. I didn't fall into it as much as I did with this show, but yeah, familiar with it.
We talked recently about the cartoon version that was a Netflix original series that they couched for about 2 episodes before never addressing it again. It's a cartoon, and they act like, oh, we must be super high because we ate this acid or whatever, and here we are. I feel like Always Sunny in Philadelphia can never die. I feel like it can become a cartoon. I feel like it could become a computer animated show. I feel like it could be a standalone anthology series. I feel like it could be a YouTube vlog series. You name it.
Oh yeah, it could be a travel stage show. Absolutely.
I can't wait till it's on TikTok. That's amazing.
Yeah, fine with that too.
All right, let's take a look at some notes. Amazon bought the rights to Truth Seekers. That's a comedy horror series coming from Simon Pegg and Nick Frost, where Frost will play a paranormal investigator and Pegg plays a mysterious character named Dave. Production starts in September for an 8-episode run. FX renewed Atlanta for a 4th season. Production of season 3 and 4 scheduled to begin next spring. The Crown has a date coming back to Netflix November 17th. If you didn't realize, new cast though, because everybody got a little older. Olivia Colman playing Queen Elizabeth II. Tobias Menzies, Edmure from Game of Thrones playing Prince Philip, and Helena Bonham Carter as Princess Margaret. HBO Max, remember that's the Warner Media stuff combined with HBO that's yet to be launched. Will partner with BBC Three on a 6-part comedy called Starstruck, written by, and starring New Zealand-born comedian Rose Matafeo. It tells the story of a millennial London woman working 2 dead-end jobs who accidentally sleeps with a movie star. Leslie Jones has a 1-hour stand-up comedy special coming to Netflix in 2020. And Apple released a teaser for its drama, The Morning Show, starring Jennifer Aniston, Reese Witherspoon, and Steve Carell. Brian, it's coming this fall.
Yeah, dude, it's going to be great. I've been saying this for a while. I'm glad you finally got on board, Tom. Yeah, everything about Apple TV is going to be great as long as we perpetually put it in the future. Dude, you did not say one headline that didn't make me a little bit happier. That's wonderful. All of this is great news.
Cool. Yeah, excellent. And that teaser of The Morning Show casts it a lot more serious than I expected. I knew it wasn't technically a comedy, but it seems more like it's going to be like HBO's The Newsroom than anything else.
We'll see.
We'll see. All right, let's talk about what we've had our eyes on. Guests first. Just tell us something you've been watching lately, Ken, that you think is pretty cool.
Oh, man, this is kind of embarrassing, but I use streaming services to watch weird documentaries about UFOs that I believe just because I love to watch them, flat earther documentaries. That's what I've been using this powerful technology for, and I feel ashamed, guys.
No. Number 1, feel no shame. Number 2, tell me everything you know. I want so bad because I think there's something about like the crazy flat earth movement that is a cultural rejection of dad. Like screw you, dad, and your science and everything. What's going to make you mad? If I say we didn't go to the moon, if I say the earth's flat, whatever will make you the most mad, I want as much armament to cause that anger.
Absolutely. It is mind-blowing, and I'm not here to, pick fights or start fights with anyone out there watching that believes. I love kind of these streaming services where I can just sit down and have the choice to choose something that might not have been on cable TV or would have been put to 2 a.m. on a show hosted by Dan Aykroyd that I never saw. Like this, I could watch this at dinner and study the folks that fill this landscape, and it's fascinating to me.
There is sort of an inherent permission that you get because the stakes stakes are so low. You've already bought the all-you-can-eat buffet, so it's like you're not really choosing to watch this. It's just that you want something on, and this is free, and you've already paid for it. So yeah, lots of the Kung Pao chicken. That'll be great.
Yeah, which crappy Bigfoot documentary am I going to watch tonight over chicken? That's the way to go. Yep.
Yeah. For example, and if this makes you feel any better, I've been rewatching Cheers.
Yeah. Because why not? You would never go to Blockbuster Video and buy the complete box set of Cheers.
Yeah. We have on another podcast I do called Current Geek. Once a month we watch the pilot of a television episode and we talk about that TV show. And we did Cheers, and first of all, they're short. They're 25 minutes. They're fairly timeless. I didn't realize how well written it was to not really, feel too stuck in the 80s, other than clothes and stuff like that. Occasional references. Tip O'Neill showing up at the bar, for instance, really placed it in the 80s. But most of the time it's like, oh, this was just a really well thought out show. And it's only 25 minutes long, and everybody knows my name, and I feel comfortable. And so I was only supposed to watch one for this podcast. I watched the entire first season, and I'm already into season 2 now.
Is it there real joy in the fact that you don't have to make any decisions? Well, you know what you're going to do. You're going to continue into season 3, season 4, season 5, and then you'll feel a little bit of anxiety as you get to season 28 or whatever. But then luckily Friends will be there for you, and then it'll be The Office, and so on.
Thursday night time loop.
Yeah, exactly. I should start recreating the entire, start watching the Cosby Show. Well, maybe not. Hey, Brian, what have you been watching?
Nothing. I went to DEF CON. I saw a bunch of friends. It was utterly delightful. Saw a bunch of live entertainment, but we will talk about Preacher and extras in Spoilerin time.
What are we on the lookout for, Bryce?
Hey, we got a letter from David with a heads up for all our listeners. He writes, I just want to be sure that you are aware that Amazon for the past few months has been streaming an HD remastered Farscape, the TV show. For those who don't know, just think of the show as this century's Flash Gordon or Buck Rogers, like the 1920s serials. It's created by Sci-Fi and Jim Henson's Creature Shop. Don't expect scientific accuracy. The show is more story and character development, crazy situations, and a lot of made-up curse words that would make Battlestar Galactica look sanitized. It's from David from Riverside, California. Thank you, David. Yeah, it appears an HD remaster of Farscape is on Amazon Prime Video in the US, UK, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and some other countries. Check out something like justwatch.com for availability in your region.
Is this a show that was originally in film and they were able to do better scans, or is it upscaled?
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that.
Cordkillers@gmail.com.
Someone let us know
if you do know.
Yeah. And if you got something we should be on the lookout for, besides Farscape, email us cordkillers@gmail.com. Right. Before we get to the front lines, Brian, I know you have an important message for us.
Yeah, man. I love you. You guys are great. Thank you for all the support. Thank you to everybody who goes to patreon.com/Cordkillers. If you haven't heard of it, we do a lot of other stuff. Both Tom and I, we make sure to pause our busy schedules every Monday to join you guys, but the rest of the time I'm doing something called The Modern Rogue. We're on a quest to become the ultimate gentleman, warrior, and scoundrel. If you go to youtube.com/Modern Rogue, you can see our latest adventure.
All right, let's move on to the front lines.
Front lines!
Business Insider reported August 6th that its sources said MoviePass CEO Mitch Lowe ordered the company to reset passwords of users without their knowledge. Yeah, a lot of times companies will reset your password if there's a breach. In this case, the company was running out of funds in July last year, and they thought, well, if we reset people's passwords, maybe they won't buy as many movies. The number of MoviePass subscribers has fallen for many reasons, from 3 million last year to just 225,000, according to Business Insider's latest estimates.
Holy crap! That's a diabolical solution to the gym membership problem, right? Where it's like what you want is the maximum number of memberships and the fewest number of people actually showing up. So if you just constantly say, "Oh, that was last month's gym membership card. You got to get a new one."
And they just recently turned MoviePass back on.
So where are we at? How much do we trust MoviePass?
0.
Yeah.
None. Nothing.
Ken, what about you?
The only thing that's going to save MoviePass is if they announce a new streaming service that we all use.
Disney.
I trust MoviePass -1 Facebooks.
Disney announced that it will sell a bundle of Disney Plus Hulu Basic, the one you pay for, but it still has commercials, and ESPN Plus for $12.99 a month. That's $5 a month less than you would pay for each one separately. This is a very aggressive price point. The only thing I hate about it is that they're acting like it's appropriate to do a commercial version of Hulu. Everybody should go commercial free.
I mean, that's been a problem for a while, hasn't it? But it's probably the only way they can make the math work is to do the cheap version of Hulu. But they're essentially giving you ESPN Plus for free. If you subscribe to basic Hulu and Disney Plus, you get ESPN Plus, which is normally $5 a month, without having to pay the extra $5 a month.
What they're really buying is a very simple answer where it's just like, oh, I'm thinking about cutting the cord. It's like, well, here's everything that you're about to tell me you want all in one package, give or take.
Yeah. I mean, kind of. ESPN Plus doesn't give you everything.
I mean, yeah,
but
look,
sounds like
there'll be an asterisk at the end, but it's pretty much everything you're paying for.
Viacom and CBS, just get a room and announce your merger, for goodness sake. They're real close, and then they're not so close anymore, and then they're close again. Over time, they've been getting closer, and both companies announced positive earnings last week. CBS announced CBS All Access and Showtime contributed to a 13% increase in affiliate and subscription fee revenue for the quarter. The company says it's on track for its goal of 25 million subscribers combined for All Access and Showtime by 2022. So as they lose the fees from traditional cable subscribers, this is one way they can gain the fees. On the Viacom side, Pluto TV reported 18 million monthly active users at the end of July. That's up 50% over last year. And Paramount had a nice turnaround as well. Paramount's first window movie deal with Epix is about to expire too. So look for those movies to jump to a new platform, probably bringing in more money for Viacom.
Ken, do you think that this merger is already decided and that all of this is just a show for the public to find the right time for the announcement?
No, I don't.
You think they're actually
this would happen
supporting
a long time ago if that were the case? Yeah.
You think they're still actively courting and doing the dance?
This is a big flirt. Absolutely. I love a good conspiracy theory, but no, I don't think. I think this is.
We know the flat Earth and all of that.
Yeah. The Earth is a globe. I don't know, but I also check out on this because I'm a Star Wars guy, so I'm waiting for Disney Plus. Picard, I'll watch later on when they have their own version of Human Rex.
Yeah, Tom, wildly speculating here. Speculating, that's a real word.
Speculate away.
I mean, they got to merge, right? Otherwise, there's no other seat at the table.
Just do it.
Yeah, right?
God. Yeah, I think it has to do with shareholders who are like, yeah, but if you merge that way, my shares aren't worth as much. And if you merge that way, they won't. And then, of course, there was Les Moonves was set to become the CEO of the combined company, and he had a scandal and got driven out. So then they had to wait for that to cool off. So I think it'll happen. But yeah,
I guess that's why I'm starting to dip into conspiracy theory territory and just say, like, I mean, clearly it's got to be already decided, and they're just trying to time the market and, try to gussy everything up so that everybody's happy.
Yeah, I don't think it's so much conspiracy theory as just, they're trying to figure out all the details that will please all the millions of stakeholders involved, and that's tough.
CBS plans to accelerate the rollout of local versions of the CBSN news service in the 13 markets where CBS owns the local station. CBS launched a local version of CBSN in New York in December, Los Angeles in June, Boston, San Francisco planned by the end of the year, with 9 more versions by 2020, including Chicago, Dallas, Philadelphia, Minneapolis, Denver, Miami, Sacramento, Pittsburgh, and Baltimore. The services are free and ad-supported and available in the CBSN app, cbsnews.com, and local stations, websites, and apps. This makes me think about our discussion last week about those carriage fees and that constant back and forth bickering that people have. Is there an angle on this that ties into that discussion, Tom?
Well, certainly there is, because the local channels want another revenue stream besides having those fees trickle down, and being able to have a share of ads that are sold to their local market through this app, I think will help. Also, a way for those people we talked about earlier who are like, well, I don't know if I want to cut cord. Where would I get my local newscast? If you can say, well, for free through the CBSN app, I think that reassures a lot more people. And again, trying to figure out how to deliver live news, especially live local news, to people is something that has to be figured out as we get 50 million cord cutters out there. So this is one approach that they're trying, and it looks like it's working.
Yeah. Ken, when's the last time you watched local news?
Whenever the last police chase was on, but which is why, all jokes aside, like
so every day.
Yeah, every day. But that does, it does matter where you're talking about live sports and live news, or what might keep me around a cord. There's a truth to that, especially in a big city. So this is an intriguing answer to that problem.
I do think it's interesting that that your answer was live police chases, because being in central United States, it's tornadoes. The last time I watched was 4 years ago, when I was pretty sure a tornado was about to land.
Yeah, sometimes the police chase tornadoes, so then you get the best of both worlds. David Benioff and D.B. Weiss, most of you probably know as the producers of Game of Thrones, have signed a multi-year agreement to write, produce, and direct new television series and films exclusively at Netflix. This was a bidding war that involved everyone at one point. Then Apple fell off, and it was Amazon, Disney, and Netflix, and it looks like Netflix cashed up the most. As a result, HBO has canceled the series Confederate, which would have been produced by the pair and would have told the story of a world where the South won the Civil War, and would have been really hard for HBO to get people to stop being mad at them about.
Which is weird, because isn't Star Wars just what if the Nazis had won? It doesn't.
There's a big difference between what if these people who are kind of like the Nazis had won in a galaxy far, far away, and what if the actual country had actually won?
Yeah.
Although Man in the High Castle is
literally about that.
Yeah. No, it's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think it's a safe way for HBO to back away from that. Not that they wanted to lose David and DB Weiss there, but they can back away.
Do you think we're entering an age where increasingly talent becomes kept animals, and that's the best play for you to make is, hey, you live and work with us, we will keep you fed and very fashionably situated. But in exchange, exclusivity for the win.
I think it will. I mean, we know J.J. Abrams, he came back to 9 to prove he had this kind of franchise thing in him to get that big deal.
The part that stuck with me was J.J. Abrams had the freedom to come and go from the franchise. He wasn't a kept animal with any kind of exclusivity. Do you feel like we're going to miss out on the opportunity for people to make those choices, or like, are we looking at an increasingly NFL-like situation where everybody is like, we bought you, we own you, you play for us?
I think these creators might feel more safe that they got a place to do it. So however we view it, it might be different, but I think this is what they want. They want these power deals, just to show that they have it, I think. But, I like the idea of JJ goes here, there, he goes there, Benioff and Weiss do Star Wars, which they're still going to do that Star Wars, launch that series with Lucasfilm. So how we view it, obviously, I think is going to be different than how they view it.
Roku beat earnings expectations and announced that it is being used by 30.5 million households every single month. The company lost 8 cents a share compared to expectations of 23 cents per share. 67% of Roku's revenue was driven by advertising and services, which I think is extraordinary. Average revenue per user was $21.06. The company is now predicting to grow its revenue by 46% year over year. Tom, are you impressed or no?
Oh, yeah. Roku killing it on every measure. They're expected to lose money. It's not one of those situations you're like, whoa, they're losing money. They're still at the stage of their business where losing money is okay, because the plan is eventually they'll be making so much money it'll make up for it. But cutting that loss down to 8 cents a share when they thought it'd be 23 is huge. And it validates that their bet on advertising is the right bet, because that loss was cut down quite a bit by that huge spike in Roku's revenue from advertising and services, and making $21.06 off each one of those 30.5 million households. That's a cash cow right there that Roku's got going. And from the branding perspective, I'm increasingly impressed that Roku's brand is increasingly, it used to be the box that you bought to get the things. Yeah.
Now the Roku brand is the reason you don't need to buy anything because it's just making everything available to you.
It's on my TV.
Right.
Eventually, they're going to have to improve that interface because the Roku interface is usable. That's the kindest word I can come up with.
Yeah.
All right. Let's look at some dispatches from the front. Got a couple of emails talking about the AT&T TV Now discussion we had last week. I'll read the first one from Gregory, who says, I am not sure I agree that rebranding would do anything to stop the bleeding of DirecTV or DirecTV Now. Carriage disputes, competition, and cost are the big problems. Simply rebranding the service will not help any of those. If AT&T really wants to be successful, I think they distance themselves from the brand, not paste their name all over it, and really push for a high-quality, value-based brand, one that people can truly understand the value of. Add to all of this the launch of HBO Plus and Disney Plus, and the competition is really going to kill AT&T, who have historically not done well, adequately maybe, but not well in competitive markets.
The only part I disagree with is the idea that Disney Plus and HBO are in any way competitors. The only competitor is cable, right? The DirecTV Now plus AT&T, whatever they want to call it. I mean, essentially, it's my parents is the target demographic. Is stop paying the cable company, instead do this box.
Yeah. And I cut it out of his email, but he has an impressive knowledge of all of those competitive services like PlayStation Vue, Sling TV, Fubo, et cetera. So I think he knows that that's a main competitor. But I agree with you. I don't think the HBO Max Disney Plus part of it is as important to AT&T.
And I think
it is important to HBO Max because AT&T owns HBO Max. So don't forget that. They're not in competition with HBO Max. They're making it.
Right. We also got an email from Evan who says, hey, killers, love the commentary on the AT&T TV Now garbage. I'm talking about it now with my brother who works on the corporate side of telco, and he said something interesting. While he agreed it was totally stupid, he said that AT&T just loves slapping their name in front of everything they sell. But on the corporate side, somebody along the way realized, it's kind of dumb, way too cumbersome. So AT&T prefix just got shortened to A. You know what AT&T's VPN service is called? AVPN. Dedicated Internet Access? ADI. Switched Ethernet? ASE. So if it were on the business side of AT&T, they'd just call it ATV Now, which seems infinitely better. Couldn't agree more. I pointed that ATV is already short for all-terrain vehicle, and nobody cared. Great points. Great points. I agree. AT&T should drop the thing that makes us think of a telegraph from the 1800s and instead just become that one letter that is the beginning of the alphabet.
Did this work for Kentucky Fried Chicken becoming KFC? They can follow that model.
Do you know the real story behind the KFC thing? They said at the time in the 1990s that they were trying to promote a more healthful image with KFC instead of Kentucky Fried Chicken. The real reason was because the Kentucky state legislature had passed a law saying that they had to pay a licensing fee to ever use the word Kentucky. That is why at the exact same time, the Kentucky Derby became the Race for the Roses. And likewise, Kentucky Fried Chicken became KFC. They eventually gave up on that when everybody started changing their names. Welcome to Trivia Corner with Brian.
It also had the effect of sticking around in Korea, where KFC was just a lot easier to market than Kentucky Fried Chicken, and KFC is huge in South Korea. This interesting side effect there. AT&T stock ticker is T. Wonder if they could do something with that. Finally, Chris wrote in and said, hey guys, I have a suggestion for a new show segment. Since you've been doing this for 5+ years now, it'd be fun to pull up a primary target from the same time 5 years ago and give an update on what has happened since. You could call it Time Capsule.
I like everything except for the name. We'll call it
a capsule.
Well, we'll call it an old landmine. To stick with the war imagery that we got. Unexploded ordnance. That's our new segment. No, I think it's a great idea. I think that would be fun.
What would 5 years ago have been? 2014?
Yep.
Yeah, I thought I could be real clever and scroll back real fast.
Oh no, I already got it. Hey, Tom, this just in. Brian Brushwood has a show coming out, a special on National Geographic. I'm sure it'll run for many, many seasons.
Was that our top story in August of 2014?
Probably.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Well, this has been a fantastic time. Thanks for spending it with us, everybody. And thank you, Ken Napzok, for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Sorry for some of the tech problems on my end here, but I appreciate joining this fun conversation.
Where's the best place for people to see more of your stuff?
You can follow me at Ken Napzok and go to kennapzok.com for all my shows, live shows, live comedy shows, and pick up my book, Why We Love Star Wars. If you just want to passionately celebrate the greatest saga ever told, join me in that quest.
And that's Napzok, right?
Correct.
Our website is cordkillers.com. Our email address is cordkillers@gmail.com. We're live on twitch.tv/Night Attack, which is also carried on diamondclub.tv, Mondays at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. We'll talk to you again next week.
Hey guys, Brian and Tom here, and it's just the same old message at the end of the credits, just like always.
That's right, Brian. Nothing new here except your name showing up.
Oh my gosh,
because
I've got a
you
name.
just supported us on Patreon.
Yeah, all those $5 donors, look at that. That's your name in pixels. We're gonna make you famous, kid. Put your
There's
name in
some
pixels on
classic
the internet.
names in there, but some of you are new. Some of you aren't there. It's sad. What can they do, Brian?
I mean, they could go to patreon.com/cordkillers and pledge $5 an episode and be one of these amazing people, like this one.
Amazing.
Oh, look at that name right there.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.